Just move. No, Harry, you go that way. Just trying to get the phone out of shot. And there we go. And that's it. There we go. What a way to start the stream. Hello, everybody. This is Pitch Gold Black here, and welcome back to another live stream where once again I am joined by Harry Williams Productions. Do you want to say hello?
Good evening.
And today we are going to be reviewing the oddity in the Doctor Who television universe, I guess you could say, known as the Doctor Who TV movie from 1996. To me personally, and I have a very big, strong personal connection to this for a reason that I'll probably get into later on in this stream.
Yeah, so I guess we could talk about like first sort of memories of watching it. I remember buying the Revisitations one box set because it had this story, The Caves of Androzani and The Towns of Wayne Chang, I think. And I was told by a few friends at school, because they watched a few Doctor Who episodes as well, and they told me about this one, and pretty much all of them said it was like pretty shit, to be honest. So I was a little bit worried about watching it, like, I think, because I did want to like it, and I didn't want to give it a chance, and I was worried that maybe the whole Americanization of it is going to be, the worst thing about it. But I actually really enjoyed it for what it was.
Yes, I would say this is a very enjoyable piece of Doctor Who overall, and I do remember liking it a lot when I was a little kid, which was actually when I first saw this, even though I don't have a lot of memories of watching it, although I do have one, which I will go into now. And I moved over to Northern Ireland about 13 years ago now, and I'm 22 currently, so whenever relaunch of Doctor Who happened in 2005. I was only about 6 or 7 at the time, and that's how I got into Doctor Who. Whenever I was still living over in England, I had a Doctor Who friend who I would visit often and watch pieces of Doctor Who with, and his friends quite often. And I remember some of those stories that I watched were the TV movie, as I'll get into again here, The Five Doctors and the Dalek Invasion of Earth. But I bring this up here because I have very distinctive memory of him saying at the end whenever so I have very vivid and strong memories of that particular moment and watch from my childhood, which is quite interesting. And considering that part my friend said about the Master, that's it, guys, that's the end of the Master. I would probably say that I actually first watched this before John Sims returned as the Master in Series 3, which is really cool. And gives an interesting perspective as to when I watched the TV movie. And I've got a very big kind of sentimental connection to this thing, kind of sentimentally connected to me in that way.
Yeah, so for me it's a bit different because I didn't really have that sort of connection. I just remember getting the box set and watching it from that. But no, obviously I think there are people out there who do really not like the TV movie, which is understandable because there are some things in it which might not be to everybody's taste, and we'll probably talk about that later on.
Yeah, this had a ton of problems, the TV movie. There's no real dodging that bullet here. It's got a ton of problems.
Yeah, because I think I first watched this in 2010, which is literally a decade. It's
yeah.
No, I've watched it on multiple viewings, and each time I've enjoyed it. I would say more and more, but I'd say I still enjoy it as for what it is.
Yeah, I haven't really watched it that much in recent years. I've just been kind of with uh busy with other kind of bits of media and what have you. So this was my kind of first watch of it in quite a few years now, and I've got to say, yeah, I did really enjoy it. I would have said, despite all of its issues.
I think the hands down the best thing about this film is well, there's a few things about it actually. Obviously, Paul McGann is fantastic as the Eighth Doctor. He brings that film to life.
He does, yeah, he does have very good kind of actor chemistry with uh whatchamacallit, Daphne Ashbrook as Glenn as Dr. Holloway.
Oh yeah, she like even though she's a bit like unrelatable, but she's still a really fun character to watch.
Yeah, she is.
And Chang Li, played by Yi Chitsu, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Even though you don't really know much about him, he's still quite a good character as well.
He is a really good character, yes, and
the Master tries to get him on his side, and there's some quite funny moments in it as well.
There is a lot of humour and things like that in the TV movie, which makes it feel very different to other bits of classic Doctor Who, I would have said. And kind of riding off that point, I would have said that the majority of classic Doctor Who, excluding the TV movie and a few Sylvester McCoy stories, from what I have seen, has a certain kind of nuance and subtlety to the types of stories that they are telling and the way the stories are told. This, however, is very kind of like, I don't want to say like over the top, but it kind of almost reaches those kind of levels. I would have said it's far less kind of subtle, I would have said, than the and less nuanced than other bits of classic Doctor Who. I would have said there's a lot of humor to it, and I don't want to exactly say it goes. It's like over the top. I'm not really sure how else to put it. There's a lot of moments in the story where I'm not really sure if it was intentionally trying to be funny, but there was moments in the story where it had those kind of moments where it was really funny to me, like that scene where the master goes up to the hospital receptionist and just kind of taps on the perspex glass and like flicks his fingernail off. I thought that was hilarious personally. For some reason, happy they didn't mention cats.
I don't know if that's meant to be like, well, obviously it's not meant to be, but I don't know if it was racist or. I don't think it is, but
yeah.
It's quite interesting because it starts off with a pre-title sequence, and there's some stuff in this pre-title sequence which is quite like the Master putting on trial by the Daleks. I think it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's
why. Why?
I bet Big Finish somewhere have made a Time War story about that, saying this is why the Master's being put on trial by the Daleks at the beginning, or something like that.
Well, they brought Eric Roberts back a few times, haven't they? So.
And are now bringing him back for another big box set of whatever fan jizz they want to put in this time.
Yeah. I do wonder why they decided to make the Master a snake.
Yeah, that is a little weird.
I know that the Master is a bit of a snaky character.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why they. But it just seemed very strange to see him as a CGI snake.
Yeah, that was really kind of strange and bizarre, definitely.
I guess it gives a new sort of origins to the Master. I don't know how to quite put it, but
yeah,
interesting to the Master. But it's strange. But I think what you're saying about how it has a different feel to like the old classic episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is not to say that the film is bad, because I don't think it is, but it has a very sort of B-movie type feel to it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
But that's not to say some B-movies are bad, because some are quite good. Like The Stuff, I'd say, is a B-movie, but it's quite good.
Yeah, that is a good one. Yeah. Thanks for introducing me to that movie.
Yeah, I was quite interested in what your thoughts on it.
It's interesting.
Yeah, so it has lots of humour in it, and I can't not talk about in my opinion anyway, the fantastic title sequence and the tune, and just the whole score in general I think is good.
Yeah, the whole score in general is really good, and that does kind of also fall in line and tie back to what I was saying earlier about how it has a different feel to classic Doctor Who, because there is a lot of kind of like music cues and what have you in this thing.
Yeah, Sylvester McCoy in this, and his quite shocking and sad ending with him getting gunned down in San Francisco.
Yeah, he does. Sylvester McCoy, despite being very brief in this, does give a very good kind of performance in this movie, and it does help build a very nice kind of segue into the Eighth Doctor, I would have said. And I guess that's yes.
I was going to say, I can't remember if it was the director or the writer. Matthew Jacobs said he wishes that. He basically said that Sylvester McCoy shouldn't have been in it. Like, they should have just started with Paul McGann, which would have been interesting.
It would have been interesting, yeah. And then eventually somebody will make like a in-between kind of mini-series leading up to it or something like that.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think just the way he was gunned down and he was taken to a hospital, it was all very real for what is essentially a science fiction show for like young viewers.
Yeah, and it kind of led to some interesting kind of bits of Doctor puns and jokes with Dr. Grace Holloway in the story.
I think she is a decent character as well. I think she's very likeable.
Dr. Grace Holloway, I think, is a really good and likeable character, I would have said overall, and I really did enjoy her character in this. And whenever I was watching the TV movie with after a few years and after getting heavily into another particular TV show, I could actually see that in some ways that the TV movie itself was quite influenced by the X-Files, I would have said, because as Harry would probably know, as I sent him series 1 of the X-Files, Dr. Grace Holloway to me feels a lot like Dana Scully from the X-Files, actually an alien here, I would have said. And it does make me kind of think about like how the TV movie came about in the first place. What was its kind of origin story in terms of conceptualization and realization? Because it makes me think that the X-Files in some way kind of led to the TV movie being brought back, I would have said, as there is quite a few kind of X-File-like things in the TV movie, I would have said, and it makes me wonder if somebody looks at the popularity of the X-Files at the time, which, for point of reference, started in 1991 in America, kind of looks at the popularity of the X-Files and then looks at how Doctor Who ended in 1989 or cancelled, kind of thought about how Doctor Who would do in the kind of modern day of the 1990s with something like the X-Files being so popular.
That's an interesting point, actually, because it does have a very sort of X-Files vibe to it.
It does, yeah. And I've only sent, going back to kind of what I've showed Harry a box set in a charity shop one day, bought it and sent Harry it over. And you're still watching that, aren't you? Or
I'm pretty sure I've watched the majority of it. I just need to remember which ones I've watched. But no, thanks for that, because it was really quite interesting seeing. It's always quite exciting experiencing a show that you've never watched before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. Well, from what I've seen a lot of it. I've liked pretty much all the episodes, really, in it.
Yeah. Well, I bring this up because slightly later on in the run of the X-Files, namely Series 3, what is commonly dubbed the Black Oil, or what is actually called the Purity Virus, is introduced, and is kind of this reoccurring kind of character and villain and sort of alien species, various adventures and conspiracies, I would have said. And there is kind of with the kind of master snake slug thing kind of crawling about and what have you, and also the fact that Grace near the end gets possessed by the master and has black eyes, much like how Purity Virus would have in the X-Files.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because the black eyes that Grace has is quite creepy, I think.
It's really creepy, yeah. And that's another kind of ties into another really silly moment in the show, or the TV movie, I would have said, where I can't remember what the Doctor calls it, but she like picks something from the Doctor's like toolbox and hits him on the head with it, and it's like a metal fucking hammer, and it does like no like bleeding damage or anything like that to the Doctor.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably not going to show that on what's essentially a family episode, I suppose.
Yeah.
That would be a bit controversial if they did that.
Yeah.
I think also there's one of my...
That is a really good...
With Frankenstein playing in the background.
Yeah. A fantastic film I watched recently, and it's interesting how they managed to mirror the TV movie or that regeneration scene with the event in Frankenstein, I would have said.
Yeah, that is actually quite clever if you think about it, really. I do like that sort of imagery of that.
Yeah, as it kind of does play into reincarnation and what have you, and the kind of like lines and bits and pieces the movie would hint at with reincarnation, such as the Master and Chang Li talking about regeneration and what have you later on in the movie.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think also like one of the other like sort of funny moments in it is where he comes out of the autopsy room, or no, it's not autopsy, where they keep the bodies.
The morgue.
Yeah, and the doctor or nurse or whatever he is faints when he sees it.
Oh yeah, that's really funny, and really just Voice for me is a really puzzling kind of moment when you really think about it. When the kind of movie first started, you can see the hospital being very busy and really popular, if you want to put it like that. And then during the regeneration sequence, Paul McGann steps out of the morgue, and the guy faints and what have you. And then he steps into this room of like the hospital. There's in complete ruins, completely ravaged, glass is broken, things are fucking everywhere. And there I'm just like, this hospital seems like it's like the most popular in San Francisco in the entire fucking city. Why is this room just completely trapped?
Yeah, I mean, it could be like part of the parking lot, just abandoned.
Could be.
Yeah, I think there's that whole idea that the Doctor is, well, it looks like Jesus in that scene.
Yeah.
And I think one, this is like, the elephant in the room is that a lot of people really don't like the idea of the Doctor being half human on his other side.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not entirely bothered about it, but I think it's a bit stupid.
It does make no sense. Back to Gallifrey, that human gave birth to the Doctor, and the show begins. Is that what happened?
So yeah.
Is that how is that the whole kind of thing started? Like a Time Lord went from Gallifrey to planet Earth, brought the human back, and they had sex or wherever, and the human gave birth on Gallifrey or something like that.
I mean, with Doctor Who, it probably may have happened, but in an alternative universe.
Yeah.
But there are some. There are a lot of things like about this film, like the TARDIS interior, which apparently, I think I read somewhere that they spent $1 million on that.
Jesus, it's worth it though.
Oh yeah, and also the exterior as well looks really good.
It does, yeah.
Like the perfect TARDIS, I think.
And I noticed a nice kind of subtlety is that in the alley that the TARDIS lands in, it lands in front of this like British Royal Palace, England Royal Palace, London Royal Palace poster that's taped to the wall behind it with like one of the English guards with the mad kind of hats and what have you, one of the Queen Guards on it. So it's kind of interesting how it lands in front of that when you think about how this is an American kind of made thing of like a TV show, but of a British TV show. But then again, that's just something weird I picked up on, and maybe I'm looking at it too much.
Yeah, there's probably loads of Easter eggs in that TARDIS which you might have missed even today.
Yeah.
It's literally just a blink and you'll miss it. So you really have to pause each scene just to see what kind of little things there are lying around in it.
Yeah, and there's also all kind of interesting Easter eggs and what have you. And I do want to go back to your point about the Doctor looking religious in that particular morgue scene, because later on at the end of the movie, when he's all kind of tied up with the Master and what have you at the Eye of Harmony in the TARDIS, doesn't he? And not that I'm not a big religious person, but I believe it was like during the crucifixion, didn't like Jesus wear like a crown of thorns or something like that? And here Paul McGann's wearing this kind of spiked crown thing. So maybe there is like a religious undercurrent to the TV movie in some strange way, but who knows?
Yeah, that is true. I don't even know what the fuck that thing's meant to be.
No, I don't know either. It reminded me a little bit of not that I've seen this movie, but it reminded me a little bit of the torture scene from Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, that's true, actually. That's very similar.
That is very similar, just in terms of like the kind of metal things they put over that dude's eyes or what have you.
I think also, I was going to say, the TARDIS,
Yeah,
which is why can't it just be on Gallifrey or in the Matrix or something?
yeah, yeah. That was weird.
But
Wasn't there like an established thing about the Eye of Harmony in the Deadly Assassin or something like that? Or am I completely
maybe
missing something?
I might have a brief look on TARDIS fandom wiki page or whatever.
Because they
you can carry on talking about the story while I'm just trying to find out more about the Eye of Harmony.
no, isn't in the climax to the Deadly Assassin, isn't that big pillar thing the Eye of Harmony?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. So it's a black hole power source, right?
Yeah.
It came from the star system, and also known as Rassilon's star, or the Eye of Time, which is the power source for the Time Lords, from which time travel was possible and was the source for all power on Gallifrey. So why the hell is it in the TARDIS?
Yeah, and how did it? And if that is it at the end of the Deadly, who knows? And that is really bizarre. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why people get a bit wound up. Well, not wound up, just a bit confused.
It is a little. It is a very kind of odd thing. The TV movie in general, I would have said.
Like continuity error or just a plot?
Just kind of generally, because as we kind of talked about earlier, how stylistically different classic Doctor Who in general, and just how different it is in general in terms of like its cinematic nature being quite different to other Doctor Who stories for obvious reasons, as they were made for television. The kind of it would have been interesting, yeah, definitely, but
obviously, I would have loved more Paul McGann on screen, but
I would have loved more Paul McGann on screen as well. Maybe I'd really like to see, if put in the right hands, a Time War TV series at some point. If that would ever be made, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, it's true.
But one of the big, but if that was to happen, one of the bigger problems with that would be John Hurt.
Yeah, because he's now such a big part of that.
Yeah, he was like established as a massive part of that in the Day of the Doctor. So how
what? Obviously, have recast him. So they've recast him again.
Or they could do a thing like they did at the end of the Day of the Doctor and have like a 10-part Time War series or whatever with Paul McGann, and he regenerates right at the very end of the 10th episode into John Hurt, like how they did with Hurt into Eccleston at the end of Day.
Yeah, that's true. Got a few possibilities. I mean, I think for me, like the film itself, I'm glad it's just like it's weird that they actually said yes, this is canon now, which is quite interesting.
Yeah,
I can imagine there are probably a lot of fans who thought, right, that shit isn't canon.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if people think this thing isn't canon. Like, I would not be surprised in the first place.
Because they introduced like Scream of the Shower Guy. Like they said, right, so Richard E. Grant is, well, for the time being, the Ninth Doctor.
Yeah.
And then obviously that was booted from canon, and then Christopher Eccleston came along.
Yeah.
So then I think fans must have thought, oh, right, so then it must be canon.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think the webcast thing's that launch of Doctor Who. So, like, they try to bring back Doctor Who, but in webcast format, but ultimately failed, which resulted in the Curse of the Scream of the Shulker and probably the eventual TV relaunch, and also why the Scream of the Shulker DVD release was delayed for so many years, pretty much 10 years, because they didn't want it and get people confused with the new series with Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant and what have you.
Yeah, I mean, I am quite glad that we have got it on DVD now because it's quite a nice little oddity.
Yeah, something I would like to watch actually.
It is. It's all right. It's not. There's nothing great. There's a lot of dialogue in it, but overall it's quite good. But no, I think for me, I really enjoy the TV movie. And what do you think of the very interesting Eric Roberts?
He's a very different. I've been saying this, been using that word a lot, but he is a very different master. I would have said he's very kind of goofy. I would have said in a ways.
Goofy is definitely
the
word.
Yeah, there's so many kind of weird bits of humor with him and what have you, and yeah, like I was laughing a lot when watching this thing earlier, and that was mainly with a lot of Eric Roberts's master scenes, such as the one and the receptionist that I mentioned earlier, and also the basically the first one with his master, which is when he's looking out of the window and he's like speaking to himself and what have you. His wife wakes up and they have that weird kind of, well, I'll call you master, and whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
Nothing that you'd usually see in Doctor Who before.
No, definitely not. No.
I think also like quite a funny scene as well. So like Chanley meets the master and like the master telling him about the Doctor and how he wants his body and that.
Yeah.
When Genghis Khan, that was him.
Yeah, that is really weird. Like, is the TV movie saying that the Doctor was at one point Genghis Khan?
I mean, he's obviously just trying to convince Chanley that he's a monster.
That, or he's trying to reference Marco Polo, but then again, that was Kublai Khan, wasn't it?
It's funny being that.
Yeah.
But one of my favourite scenes, actually, which I nearly forgot about, is when I think the Doctor and Grace are in the just walking, and the Doctor's telling her about Gallifrey and his memories of his father, which you don't usually see.
Yeah.
The Doctor talk about his parents and that.
You don't normally know, and it's something that's barely been kind of touched upon and what have you, even though it was done a bit more heavily in the new series, namely with the series 3 two-parter. I would have said in terms of that the master.
Those little details like that are always quite interesting to watch or read about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in terms of the plot, it's ordeal going on.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's a pretty entertaining. Is it 90 minutes or something?
86.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. 86 minutes of Doctor Who, I would have said.
It is, yeah. And it is really interesting, I would have said, in terms of its kind of... I know it's not really... as we said, it's kind of debatable about if it being Doctor Who's canon, if it is canon in the Doctor Who universe and what have you. But putting it like this, it's still interesting to kind of view it in the Doctor Who canon, because there's so many kind of interesting things and what have you in it and what have you, but that's probably stretching it a little. But the kind of reason why I bring that up is because whenever Paul McGann is looking through the lockers and what have you at the hospital, in one of them he finds like a perfect replica of Tom Baker's Fourth Doctor scarf. Like, is the TV movie trying to say that in this universe of Doctor Who actually exists in this universe of Doctor Who. Like, how can somebody have a scarf that is that perfect of a match to Tom Baker's Doctor Who scarf? That just goes beyond a continuity reference to something really confusing for me when you like really think about it, in my opinion.
I think the only explanation I can give is that the Fourth Doctor must have gone to San Francisco at one point.
Yeah.
And just left his scarf there.
Or it was a relative to Osgood.
Possibly. What's he doing in San Francisco?
Fuck knows.
Yeah, that's weird, that is. Maybe she was like a doctor in training or something.
Maybe. Oh god, maybe one day they would actually establish that Osgood is an incarnation of the Doctor. Oof.
That was something Big Finish will probably do, I think.
Yeah, that's something Big Finish will probably do. But yeah, there's loads of interesting kind of continuity references and what have you scattered about in this 86-minute piece, I would have said. And I would have said that the clock at the end kind of looks a lot like the TARDIS central column in a ways. And I would have said, personally.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there are some very questionable elements to it.
Yeah.
But overall, I think it's pretty enjoyable for the most part.
It is really enjoyable, I would have said. And whenever I was kind of watching it and I was kind of thinking about, how am I going to put my opinions across to Harry in one kind of nice success, have said, is an enjoyable spectacle machine gunned with problems. Because there is just so many problems with this thing, but it is so enjoyable overall still.
Yeah, it is really, really enjoyable. And like I said before, it's filled with quite a few funny moments. For me, anyway, a lot of those funny moments like work.
Yeah, a lot of them do work, I would have said. Yeah. And it does overshadow Sylvester McCoy a bit, who is brilliant in this also.
I don't know if you've seen it, but have you seen Paul McGowan's audition tape for it?
No.
So I think it was I'm not sure, but basically it's implied that the Doctor realises that he's talking to, it might be another Time Lord, I'm not sure, but basically about the Master is in fact his brother.
That would have been really weird.
Yeah, and he's like, well, why didn't you tell me about this before? And it's interesting, but
yeah,
I didn't get put to screen.
Yeah, that would have been really interesting and what have you. And that is something I could probably see some outlet of the Doctor Who universe doing at some point, making the Master, even though we kind of not got that, but got something kind of like that in Series 3 with the Doctor being at the Academy of the Master.
So I really like the idea that they were once friends, now they're enemies, or frenemies. Yeah,
and that would definitely kind of further explain why that the Doctor has a bit of compassion towards the Master, I would have said, because there's that bit at the Master almost gets sucked into the Eye of Harmony, where the Doctor tells him to grab his hand and what have you. And I think we have that again in the new series in some bits. I could be wrong in saying that, but there is a certain kind of element of compassion from the Doctor to the Master, I would have said, which does throw some light at their past, I would have said.
Well, there is that scene in Last of the Time Lords where the Doctor like hugs the Master and tells him that he forgives him.
Oh yeah. There is that bit. Yeah.
And not to die and regenerate.
Yeah.
So he does have some sort of, I don't know what the word is. It's not affection, but it's more like
moral complex.
Yeah, despite all the shit he's tried to do to him before.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, both characters are sick of their people, I would have said.
Yeah. I'm probably sick of one, well, not sick of one another, but I think the Master just wants to do his own thing.
Yeah.
And as well as trying to destroy the Doctor.
Yeah, as well as trying to destroy the Doctor for some reason.
Yeah, because I think he just gets in his way all the time.
Yeah.
Hates guts.
Hmm.
No, like, I know Eric Roberts gets a hard time with fans, but I wouldn't say he was that bad.
Hmm. No, I wouldn't say he was terrible, just very kind of
Camp.
Yeah, camp, goofy, and hard to take serious, I would have said.
Yeah, especially when he says, I always dress for the occasion.
Oh, flipping hell, yeah.
Which is one line that a lot of people always come back to.
Including that, there was like 2 moments where like the way he spoke kind of reminded me of the Count from Sesame Street for some reason.
Oh, right, okay.
So,
yeah, he is interesting. I actually didn't expect him to come back to play the Master in Big Finish. I thought he probably moved on from that, but obviously he still likes.
Yeah. Big Finish will literally get fucking anybody for their audios.
They would, yeah. I don't know if you know this, but Eric Roberts was also in The Dark Knight as well.
Oh, I didn't know that. No. That's interesting.
He's doing it for a brief scene where the Joker's having a discussion with the gangsters.
Oh, right.
But yeah, he's
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what else he's done, really.
No.
But I would like to listen to some of the Big Finish stuff he's done.
Yeah. Fair enough, yeah.
Because he is probably the worst Master.
Yeah, and Big Finish do have a kind of knack for revitalizing forgotten or underused or bashed characters.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I've heard like River Song is meant to be really good in Big Finish.
Yeah, I've even like heard a couple of things saying that the actor that played Katarina in Daughter of the Gods is like really good as Katarina and made Katarina a more interesting character and what have you.
Oh, right, okay, because that is one I would like to listen to, I think. I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah, it's meant to be excellent, and the plot itself sounds absolutely fantastic if you want me to kind of hint at it for you.
Didn't you buy it?
I did buy it, yes. I haven't listened to it yet, and I'm not sure if I will currently, but maybe someday.
Yeah, it does sound quite good.
But yeah, the plot to it sounds absolutely amazing if you want me to detail a little bit of it.
You can do. I mean, I probably, because my friend's got an account and he's giving me his account details, so I might listen to it later. I don't know.
Oh, right. Well, I think a very rough kind of eye to it and what have you is that in the events of the Daleks' master plan, the Daleks have actually succeeded with the Time Destructor's construction and what have you. And the adventure through some sort of time thing makes the first and second Doctors meet with Stephen, Katarina, Fraser Hines, and somebody else, maybe Zoe or Victoria, and they kind of have to stop the Daleks and what have you from using the time destructor and what have you. So it sounds like a very interesting story, I would have said, and hopefully that didn't give away too much of it. But I heard it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it does sound really good. I would definitely like to listen to that soon. Have you got any sort of favourite like Eighth Doctor books or audios that you read?
Well, I did, for the sake of this video, draw out the Chimes of Midnight and the Stones of Venice Big Finish audios, both of which are absolutely fantastic. And the Stones of Venice is kind of a bit of an underrated one, I would have said. But I think that's mainly because I really like art and what have you, and it's quite a artsy story. Kind of talks about art a lot, and even has elements of the Underwater Menace as well, which is a guilty pleasure story of mine. But in terms of the books, I absolutely love and adore Seeing Eye by Jonathan Blum and Kate Orman. That is one of my favourite books of all time, and I read it in 3 days. It was that good. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I do have Seeing Eye, and it is one that I do want to read because I've heard it's meant to be really, really good. But I think you can imagine you probably can still read it regardless.
Yeah.
In terms of like, because I've read the first 4, and I think I enjoyed all of those apart from maybe. I like all of them, particularly Vampire Science. I really like that one. The Eighth Doctors was good. The Body Snatchers was interesting. And War of the Daleks was very continuity heavy. But I still fairly enjoyed it on the whole.
Yeah. Yeah, in terms of other Eighth Doctor stuff, I read Dreamstone Moon was pretty good. Placebo Effect has an enormous reputation, but I found it to be very flawed. And same can be said with The Dying Days, but to a much worse degree.
Yeah, I think your review on that was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, that I'm not quite sure on the skits that I did at the start with Shia LaBeouf these days, but yeah, it's far from a good book, and it still kind of brings back bad memories, I would have said, because that is just such a mess of a book. Yeah, what was it?
I think you said you wanted to throw it across the room or something.
I think that was Oh No It Isn't, but I wouldn't be surprised if I had the same tendencies with The Dying Days, because it was a really strange and stupid book, because it was like it wanted to be taken seriously but couldn't be taken seriously at the same time, because it had like a massive spaceship in it that goes out of your field of vision, and then it also has random shit like an ice warrior crying.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because I think I remember you saying like the ice warriors aren't acting like ice warriors.
Yeah, the ice warriors aren't really acting like an ice warriors. It's like somebody gave a Cyberman emotions or something.
Oh my god! Yeah, because the ice warriors is like Playmate a big part because he's on the front cover.
The Ice Warriors do play a pretty big part. It is kind of a standard invasion type of story, and I would even say that I got hints of the Christmas Invasion from 2005 Christmas from it, I would have said.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, obviously it's one that I'd love to have because it's quite a rarity. But I'm a little bit worried that he talked about it. It seems like a lot of people have praised it and that, but I suppose that's with every book, really. Like, it's going to have different opinions.
The thing is, with Doctor Who books, I seem to kind of like dislike or hate, or not like as much, a lot of the popular ones for some reason. But
You liked Seeing Eye.
I liked Seeing Eye a lot. That's great. But Long Barrow is massively overrated.
You know, I probably would agree with that. I think it's good, but it is a bit overrated.
Yeah, it's good, but it could have been so much better written, I would have said.
Yeah, I would agree with you actually that even though I'm not a big fan of Paul Margs, because well, I don't know. I mean, I really
Sick Building.
Sick Building was shit. Like, I thought my intelligence was like low. What was the other one? Stones of Venice, which I thought was great. I've listened to quite a few Doctor audios actually. A lot of like Series 1 of the EDAs was good. I've listened to most of Series 2, which I thought was all right. But other than that, I haven't listened to that
many. Yeah. I haven't listened to too many Eighth Doctor ones, big finishes myself. Other ones that I've kind of listened to is Embrace the Darkness, which was all right, had an interesting concept to it.
I've listened to half of that, but I've not got around to the rest.
Neverland, which was a prequel to Zagreus, I thought was absolutely incredible. Personally, Zagreus is just Zagreus.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to that without the context of listening to Neverland. I couldn't finish it.
I don't blame you. It's wow, it's just. And there's Schizo, one of the most Davros DVD box set.
That was a good one.
Mm.
But yeah, it's great that one.
Yeah.
Where does he sit in your Doctor ranking, roughly?
Not really sure, to be honest.
I think for me, he probably sits somewhere in the middle.
Probably somewhere in the middle for me as well, because my favourite Doctors would be so like 5 is Sylvester McCoy, and then number 1 is William Hartnell.
Yeah.
So
it was, mine is John Perry to start with, from best to worst, but best to like 1 to 5.
Yeah.
Well, McCoy is 7th, William Hartnell's 4th, and Patrick Troughton is 5th.
Fair enough.
So yeah, it's slightly different. But I can imagine Paul McGann's probably somewhere like 7th or 8th, maybe, or 6th or 7th.
Yeah, he is a really good Doctor, I would have said, and that's the thing with Doctor Who. Even with Jodie Whittaker, I wouldn't say there is a single bad Doctor. Personally, they're all really good. Even though Jodie Whittaker is kind of all over the place, I would have said personally, I don't think she's a bad Doctor. She kind of has moments where she's like really average, just a terrible, or even some decent moments here and there. I just think she's blotting, but in kind of similar but not similar to Colin Baker in some ways, I would have said, with his original TV run.
Yeah, maybe they do, but from what I can tell, at least in my opinion, I don't want this to go into a Jodie/Christian or hate video, because that's not what this is.
Yeah, and the fandom has enough of those anyway.
Yeah, true. Cough bowl streak.
Bowel streak.
Yeah, bowel syndrome.
Diarrhea. Bowels.
Yeah, it seems like they don't really know what to do with their character.
Yeah. Oh, she's a female. Let's Like, we don't know what to do with her, but she's a female. That's what fucking matters.
Yeah.
It's something like that.
It's like that's her only characteristic.
Is that she's a female.
Yeah.
And then that she's also got like the LGBT flag across her breasts or something. Because diversity.
Apparently now she's going to be bisexual as well, apparently.
Because why the fuck not? Because why the fuck not?
Let's just tick all the boxes. But, yeah. What would you rate the TV movie as a whole?
I would say a fair rating's a 7 out of 10.
Yeah. I'm probably going to go for a 6.5.
Yeah, 6.5 is pretty fair, I would have said. But I personally enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, it is very enjoyable, despite its many problems, which there are a lot. Problems. It still manages to be a very enjoyable piece of, well, a very enjoyable 86-minute bit of television.
I would definitely agree with that. It is really kind of fun and enjoyable. And it's nothing ultra complex or like mind-bending.
No, it's very simple, despite the plot holes and continuity errors.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'd say it's really fun.
Yeah, it is a really fun and entertaining Doctor Who oddity.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Paul McGann is the highlight of the whole thing, which he should be. He should be the highlight of the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if he wasn't, then that would be a real problem.
Yeah, that would be a real problem. And I'm kind of happy in a way that they made this kind of a standalone thing and not like a continuation from the classic series in a way, in terms of like how they killed off Sylvester McCoy's Doctor and made him a new one, so to speak.
Yeah. Also, it's great the fact that they actually brought Tom McGann back for the Night of the Doctor as well.
Yeah.
Which was one of the best things about the whole 50th spectacle.
Yeah, the 50th spectacle in general was so well handled. Like, in general, like, it was so well done.
What, the Night of the Doctor or the whole thing?
The whole thing, I would have said, yeah, Time of the Doctor, the Christmas special wasn't that good, but the rest of it is just brilliant, isn't it? Like, Night of the Doctor's fantastic, Day of the Doctor's fantastic, An Adventure in Space and Time is fantastic, and I've heard the Five-ish Doctors reboot is fantastic as well.
And what about the Light at the End?
Ooh, I had actually completely forgotten about that. To be honest, I don't think I've thought about that thing once this year until now.
Yeah.
Like, I had completely told that thing to fuck off from my brain.
Yeah, well, a bit like the Sixth Doctor Last Adventure as well.
Oh, yeah. Last story in that. Oof.
I mean, yeah. I can't really remember anything about the Light at the End, but I'll maybe give it another go, because there are fans that do really like it.
Yeah,
it's better than the 50th itself.
I guess I can see why some people would say this is a good start for Big Finish, because it has so many different kind of doctors in it and what have you, and you kind of get a general flavour for all of the doctors in this one kind of fail swoop. But is it any good? No, not really, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I can't remember anything about it.
Yeah, I can't really remember much or anything about it either.
Yeah,
to be honest, it's just...
I don't really know what else. I can't really think of anything else to say on the TV movie, unless there's anything we've missed. theme tune.
Yeah, the theme tune is fantastic.
Yeah,
I would have said, yeah.
it's one of my favourites, actually, I think.
And I can see how the new series title sequence was in a ways influenced by the title sequence in this. I would have said as there's a lot of similarities between the two. I would have said.
Was that similarities between the two?
The title sequence in the TV movie I feel was quite similar to the early title sequences of Revival 2005 Doctor Who.
Oh yeah, definitely. You can see the influence.
Yeah, definitely.
As well as the action music as well in the film.
Yeah, definitely. And there's also all sorts of nice kind of on the nose things in the movie as well, such as the Doctor reading the time machine in the TARDIS. I quite liked.
Yeah, a lot of things about the film that are really, really good. One thing I did quite like actually was when we first see Sylvester McCoy. Like, he barely has any dialogue at the start.
Yeah, he barely has any dialogue.
But you can hear Paul McGann's narration, which I thought was quite nice.
Oh yeah, that is interesting. Yeah.
Which I think is quite a clever little. I don't know if you'd call it foreshadowing.
I guess you could in a way, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, really, from what I can say about it.
I think that is pretty much it as well. As I kind of mentioned with my analogy earlier, an enjoyable spectacle, just riddled with problems. I think is the best way of succinctly putting my opinions on the TV movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think a 6.5 for me is a fair rating.
Yeah, I would personally stick it at a 7 because I find it really enjoyable in its kind of uniqueness in the Doctor Who universe.
Yeah, definitely. And I am glad it's canon, but I am also glad that it didn't get a follow-up series.
Yeah, I'm glad it didn't get a follow-up series either.
But no, definitely. I would definitely recommend it if you're interested in the Eighth Doctor. If you somehow haven't seen the film.
Yeah, it's really enjoyable. It's, dare I say, is it competent? Yeah, I guess you could say. I'm not really sure if that's the correct word for the TV movie. It's just kind of really overall, just kind of really kind of like light-hearted and easy to watch. I would have said overall.
Oh yeah, it's definitely easy to watch despite all of its flaws.
Yeah, and despite a few gruesome scenes here and there.
Like I'm trying to think of where the Master spits out some sort of acid from his lungs or whatever.
Oh god, yeah. And also like the fingernail scene, and also where the Doctor pulls out the surgical camera from his chest or something like that, or like the stitching thing.
Oh yeah, there's quite a few graphic scenes, and for us essentially a family episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me that's all I need to say on it, to be honest.
If heavily flawed.
Flaw is, I reckon, as well.
I probably would have said it's maybe not for beginners of Doctor Who.
Oh, no.
Maybe something to seek out later on as an oddity. But
yeah, once you've watched a lot of Doctor Who, then you can watch it.
Yeah.
I think we said the same thing about the Curse of Fenric as well.
Yeah, we might have said that. Two comments or from the same person in the stream saying by Lindsay Thomas just saying, hello there, love your shirt, one of my favourite monster, in reference to my Mind Robber t-shirt that I recently got.
Oh yeah, that is a nice t-shirt, yeah.
Yeah, and also did get an Alien Ambassador figurine as well, and both of them look absolutely fantastic, and as are the magazines that come with them.
Yeah, they are nice little figurines.
Yeah, but other than that, I don't think we've really got anything, any gas left in the tank for this stream. I think we've said everything there is.
Yeah, said that all that needs to be said, I think.
But yeah, so how do you want to conclude this? Just end it here or somehow?
Yeah, we could end it here. I mean,
I don't really know what else there is to say. Doctor Who. If you've seen a lot of Doctor Who, we would both recommend checking out this interesting little bit of history in the Doctor Who universe.
Yeah, definitely.
But either ways, I think that's all we've really got to say on the TV movie. We've said our bit about it. It's flawed, but hugely, hugely enjoyable as a wonderful kind of odd thing to come back to in the Doctor Who universe, we would say. So that's all I've really got to say. Do you want to say goodbye, Harry?
Yeah, goodbye. I hope you have enjoyed this stream
as much as we have enjoyed making it. But yeah, so like, favorite, comment, subscribe. We hope you guys enjoyed this live stream, and goodbye. End.